we go. See if we can get a push here over the, like, let's break out now. I'll be quick on the draw too. So we get, you know, whatever that green candle pushes to on the breakout, I'm going to be selling into the strength. Rule number one, pay yourself first. Let's see if we get this push over the high of day on Tesla 22238. Probably pull, I don't know, 80% off first partial. So we have zero risk in the afternoon session. Small losing trade on Meta so far. That's okay. See if we can get this push on Tesla. Again, keep an eye. I'm keeping an eye too on this 479.71. Hopefully they coincide with each other. And if I see a rejection there, I will go ahead and take my partial on Tesla, keeping an eye on it. Should get the move. Here we go. I will wait till the green stops on Tesla. Getting ready to take 80% of my position off any moment. Horseshoes and hand grenades, y'all. Paying myself first. Probably going to be a little bit early. I don't mind though. Just waiting. Okay, but I'm taking 80% off of Tesla. No big deal. Still have some running. This is now a freebie trade. I'll put my stop right here. 2170, call it. That was easy money here on Tesla. Go ahead and excuse me. Again, I don't mind that I missed this little extra push. We still have some left, so you know, let those run. I took most of my risk off this trade. And the key is 479.71. I'm actually looking at the put options now, and they're not that expensive for tomorrow's expiration. So let's pull this up. Maybe grab 10 of them. Like we always say, rule number one, don't be afraid to pay yourself first, but it's your money, risk it how you want, not financial advice. Apple, I forget who was in Apple, I think it was Lee. Look for that 224.95 area. Maybe you get 224 or 225 even. Keep an eye on this. Probably going to get a little rejection on that yellow line. And I'm going to trim a little more on Tesla in just a moment. See if we get that push to 223. Come on. Come on. And that's close enough. Perfect. Got 50 running Tesla. And I moved my, I'll move my stop loss up to 222. 222.10. I'll move, so I can't lose now. Get ready, well, actually do what you want, Lee, but here's your move on Apple. Very nice. Getting ready to build a short position on the Qs up at that 47971 area. Okay. Start building small contract size here. Want to get a total of maybe 10 or 15 put options. 479 strike. Expiration tomorrow. Nice move on Tesla. Free money now. Moving it, move my stop to 222.20. Can't lose on the Tesla trade now. It's a 200 EMA, Lee. 200 EMA right here. Crucial level. This yellow line up here is a previous level. Notice I mark these zones for trading zones where you typically see activity. Hope that helps. I'm not sure which one you meant, Lee, but you always, if you see the bright yellow line, that's my 200 EMA. This one up here, though, that's just a range on the Qs. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So this is the 200 EMA on a 5-minute. So what I find is a lot of, like, during the day session, like we're trading 1 minute, maybe even 2 minutes, like in the open sessions, and then in the afternoon sessions, I'm finding that the 5-minute seems to be more relevant. Now, granted, if you look at the 1 minute, you're well above your VWAP 255. I mean, it's all moving in favor on Apple, right? Then when you get a different perspective, notice how it runs right into that 200 and then stops. So if you want to think of this breakout as like your high of day, essentially on Apple. So if you're going to get your move, which you're kind of hoping for, I imagine, you're going to need to get it over this line, which 225, right? What did this hit? 22492. So 225 plus means you're going to probably start moving. But again, assuming the Qs continue, assuming Tesla continues, Meta continues, Netflix continues, right? You got to have the entire market participate right now for the Qs to move higher, in my opinion, which is why I'm building a put option position. You know, if it gets above in this level, this is the new trading zone. So market charts, right? 483.54 high side, 479.71 low side. But each one of these levels, before you get into that new channel, operates kind of as a ceiling, right? So we could hit that, not go up, hit that, not go up. But if we break out, you know, we should see some follow through and a big push higher. Hopefully that makes sense. Typically, we'll see these levels kind of get respected, push back, and then do something like that. But on such a low volume day, I mean, that's the only thing that's kind of concerning me, is that this is like, you know, 15 million out of 42 million on average on the Qs. Apple trading 24 million on average, 54 million. Like, that's a significant disparity, which tells me only, you know, half the parties are participating today. Hope that helps. And I actually pulled up coin for deep here as an example. Notice your 200 5-minute chart, right? Check this out. Every time it's rejected, it pushed lower, it tried to get higher, rejected, 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 try to go higher, rejected, and now you're stuck right on the 200, right? So I'm zooming in a little more, just to kind of get real close. But meanwhile, the Qs are pushing higher, coin hasn't moved, right? So you're down 1.5%, almost 1.5%, 1.4% on the day. Meanwhile, the Qs are up almost 1%. So to be honest with you, this is kind of it, I would say. Your candle should happen very soon. And if not, expect a reject. Which is kind of what I'm planning for a rejection up in this level. It doesn't have to be exactly 479.71, right? Sometimes, many times, it'll either fall just shy of it, like it did here. I think that was at 479.51, or it just gets a little bit above it and then decides to come back down. So it almost operates a little bit more as like a zone for me. So it's not like a finite level. So let's just, you know, as an example, imagine something like this, right? We're like anywhere in that zone, I might be open to shorting it. And then if it blasts through it, then I just get out of the way, right? I've learned a long time ago, arm wrestling the market is a losing proposition. So we might get stopped out here on the remaining shares of Tesla. They're at 222.20. Kind of a bummer, but that's okay. It's a winning trade overall. I'm going to put the smiley face on it anyway, because no matter what happens, we made some dough on that one. Happy about that. So we're up 10 cents already on our puts for the Q. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Let's see. So Deep's asking, what do you think about trading stocks for some days? When semiconductors are so strong, gives a good range to trade on. Yes. Look, it depends on your style and risk tolerance. So for those of you who, let's just say, for example, let's say you're like, oh man, I love NVIDIA. I love this AI boom. I love, want to trade these stocks. But they're $165 for AVGO. It's, $130 for NVIDIA. Well, you have ETFs like SMH, obviously a little expensive, but then you can have stocks or even Soxel, right? That'll give you that opportunity to participate either for less or more broadly, all the chips. So like right now, obviously NVIDIA kind of the leader there, but if you really, let's say, look at AVGO, you're at kind of high of day there. But if you look at SMH, it's continuously pushed higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. So trading these to get more exposure, I'd say, like anytime you use ETFs, the way I try to think of it to simplify it, again, this is not technical terminology per se, but it kind of rounds out the hard edges, if that makes sense. So it kind of polishes the rough edges on some of the sharper moves. So you may not get as drastic of a pop-up as you would, let's say, in NVIDIA, but directionally, you'll be able to reap the benefit of all of the stocks that are in that sector. So I think it's a good idea to keep an eye on those things. You know, like I pulled up XLK as an example for the tech sector, right? Like if you're trading Microsoft at $420 and it moves a point, you're hosed, right? Maybe, depends on your risk tolerance, but let's just say. Whereas this, for it to move a point, it may not happen as quickly. So it's a slower mover, but if you know directionally the markets are up, as an example like today, you can, a lot of times you can use these as hedges as well. So let's say, for example, if you're like, hey, I don't know, I want NVIDIA long, and let's say you got in, I don't know, somewhere here, and then you could use something like Soxel or something like that and do the same, or hedge it by having either puts here in case, you know, market flips on you, or, you know, multiply your trade by adding it here, maybe using calls or whatever, right? So definitely a good way to explore new strategies, right? Just depends on A, your exposure, B, kind of your conviction, right? If you're like, hey, AI is the future, NVIDIA is the chip leader, which is what most people are thinking right now anyways, buy at any opportunity you can, right? And a lot of times, if you're just in one stock, you know, you could argue when's the right time to buy, but it depends on your strategy. If you're day trading, obviously you got to look at price action, you got to look at order flow, you got to look at technicals, you got to look at fundamentals. You know, there's a lot more to it that just, you know, and not to mention news, right? So hope that helps, and it's a long-winded explanation, Sudeep, but
טוב, אז הפרייס סקשן פשוט מאוד איטי ונוראי, ואני לא רואה סיבות לנסות לסחור בשוק הזה. כן רציתי לעשות שורט פה, לא יודע למה זה לא הגיע לפה, זה נראה כאילו הוא רוצה לעלות מחר, אני לא מבין. זה היה צריך להגיע לשלושת השלבים האלה, לעשות פה איזשהו תהליך. ה-S&P היה צריך להגיע ל-558.60, הוא הגיע ל-558.50. כאילו, זה 10 סנט שלא באמת נורא, ואני רואה פה את הווליום שהוא לא כל כך גבוה, וזה פשוט מעצבן מאוד, כי ציפיתי לי יותר, ציפיתי להרבה יותר. הרווחתי $21 היום, ממש כמעט כאילו לא להרוויח. ירוק זה נחמד, $25. ירוק זה נחמד, אבל לא מספיק. זה לא היעדים שלי. היעדים שלי זה 200 ביום, כמו שבוע שעבר. ותראו מה אנחנו מקבלים פה, פייק אפ. בואו נסתכל על השוק בכללי ונראה לאיפה הוא הולך כבר כמה ימים, כי כאילו העליות של השוק עצמו לא מעניין אותי. אני אסתכל ביומי ואני רואה שהוא מאוד מתוח, אבל אני כן רואה שיש לו עוד רצון לאיפה נמשיך. 73. ממש ציפיתי שיעלה עד לפה. שנגיד את זה הסיפור, כאילו יש פה איזה קאטפיש גדול, כי אין פה באמת ווליום אדום יותר מדי. 1,300,000, 2 מיליון. לעומת נאורות ירוקים גדולים, 4 מיליון. שגם זה לא כזה דר גדול עדיין. פה 8 מיליון. לא משנה. ציפיתי לי יותר. ציפיתי לפי דעתי זה הווליום שפשוט לא רוצה לזוז יום שני. שונא גם לסחור ביום שני, לא כיף. אבל זה לא נורא. אני מעדיף לא להיכנס לעסקה מאשר להיכנס ולא לדעת מה אני עושה. יש פה איזה סוג של ווליום, אבל כאילו זה גם יכול להיות ווליום של מחירה כמו פה, אני לא... 2.5 2.7, כאילו הווליום פה לא יותר גמרי, לא יודע. ה-S&P צריך להגיע, ה-QQQ צריך להגיע עד לפה, עד 73. להגיע עד לפה. ואני רואה עכשיו את ה-S&P עולה. אז לפי דעתי מה שיקרה מחר זה פשוט עלייה. מחר בשעה 4:30. עלייה מאוד מתוחה כלפי מעלה. עלייה של ממש כמה דקות. ממש 0.30 סנט או לא יודע, אולי 0.20 סנט. ואז פשוט השוק ירד. כי הוא לא תיקן שום דבר היום. על הרמת הקטנים. כאילו, גם פה אפילו יש אחד פתוח, לא תיקן. פה. ברגע שהשוק לא מעניין אותו לתקן גם את הקטנים האלה, כל אלה, בעיקר את זה, מה שזה אומר שמחר הוא ירד, אם הוא לא יורד היום, יש עוד 50 דקות. ואני רואה פה גם ווליום נחמד של כניסה. למרות שהמשחק לא נגמר. ועוד יותר טוב, זה לא סגר. מדהים מבחינתי. כל מה שקורה היום, לא קרה היום, יקרה מחר, מדהים מבחינתי. זה מבוא לטריידים יותר טובים. מה שלא קרה היום, יקרה מחר. יכול להציב גם נקודות.